Teachings of Ramana Maharishi. Happiness. All beings desire happiness always, happiness without a tinge of sorrow. At the same time, everybody loves himself best. The cause for love is only happiness, so that happiness must lie in one. Further, that happiness is daily experienced by everyone in sleep when there is no mind. To attain that natural happiness, one must know oneself. For that self inquiry, who am I, is the chief means. Consciousness. Existence or consciousness is the only reality. Consciousness plus waking we call waking. Consciousness plus sleep we call sleep. Consciousness plus dream we call dream. Consciousness is the screen on which all the pictures come and go. The screen is real, the pictures are mere shadows on it. Mind. Mind is a wonderful force inherent in the self. That which arises in this body as I is the mind. When the subtle mind emerges through the brain and the senses, the gross names and forms are cognized. When it remains in the heart, names and forms disappear. If the mind remains in the heart, the I or the ego, which is the source of all thoughts, will go, and the self, the real, eternal I alone will shine. Where there is not the slightest trace of the ego, there is the self. Who am I? Inquiry. For all thoughts, the source is the I thought. The mind will emerge only by self inquiry. Who am I? The thought, who am I, will destroy all other thoughts and finally kill itself also. If other thoughts arise without trying to complete them, one must inquire to whom did this thought arise? What does it matter how many thoughts arise? As each thought arises, one must be watchful and ask to whom is this thought occurring. The answer will be to me. If you inquire who am I, the mind will return to its source or where it issued from. The thought which arose will also submerge. As you practice like this more and more, the power of the mind to remain as its source is increased. Surrender. There are two ways of achieving surrender. One is looking into the source of the I and merging into that source. The other is feeling I am helpless myself. God alone is all powerful and accept throwing myself completely on Him. There is no other means of safety for me, and thus gradually developing the conviction that God alone exists and the ego doesn't count. Both methods lead to the same goal. Complete surrender is another name for jnana or revelation. The three states, waking, dream, and sleep. There is no difference between the dream and the waking state, except that the dream is short and the waking long. Both are the result of the mind. Our real state is beyond the waking, dream, and sleep states called turiya. Self realization. The state we call realization is simply being oneness, oneself, not knowing anything or become anything. If one has realized he is that which alone is and which alone has always been, he cannot describe that state. He can only be that. Of course, we loosely talk of self realization for want of a better term. That which is peace. All that we need to do is to keep quiet. Peace is our real nature. We spoil it. What is required is that we cease to spoil it. Heart. In the center of the cavity of the heart, the soul Brahman shines by itself as the Atma, self in the feeling of I. I reach the heart by diving within yourself, either by control of breath or with thought concentrated on the quest of self. You will thus get fixed in the self. Renunciation asked, how does a householder or grahastha fare in the scheme of moksha liberation? Bhagwan said, why do you think you are a grahastha? If you go out as sannyasi, a similar thought that you are a sannyasi will haunt you. Whether you continue in the household or renounce it and go to the forest, your mind goes with you. The ego is the source of all thought. It creates the body and the world and makes you think you are a grahastha. If you renounce the world, it will only substitute the thought sannyasi for grahastha and the environments in the forest for those of the household. But the mental obstacles will still be there. They even increase in the new surroundings. There is no help in change of environment. The obstacle is the mind. It must be got over whether at home or in the forest. If you can do it in the forest, why not at home? Therefore, why change your environment? Your efforts can be made even now in whatever environment you are now. The environment will never change according to your desire. Fate and free will. Free will and destiny are ever existent. Destiny is the result of past action. It concerns the body. Let the body act as may suit it. Why are you concerned about it? Why do you pay attention to it? Free will and destiny last as long as the body lasts. But jnana transcends both. The self is beyond knowledge and ignorance. Whatever happens, happens as the result of one's past actions, of divine will, and of other factors. There are only two ways to conquer destiny or be independent of it. One is to inquire for whom is this destiny and discover that only the ego is bound by destiny and not the self, and that the ego is non existent. The other way is to kill the ego by completely surrendering to the Lord, by realizing one's helplessness and saying all the time, not I, but Thou, O Lord, and giving up all sense of I and mine and leaving it to the Lord to do what He likes with you. Complete effacement of the ego is necessary to conquer destiny. Whether you achieve this effacement through self inquiry or bhakti marga. Jnani. A jnani has attained liberation even while alive, here and now. It is immaterial to him as to how, where, and when he leaves the body. Some jnanis may appear to suffer, others may be in samadhi still, others may disappear from sight before death. But that makes no difference to their jnana. Such suffering is apparent, seems real to the onlooker, but not felt by the jnani, for he has already transcended the mistaken identity of the self with the body. The jnani doesn't think he is the body, he doesn't even see the body. He sees only the self in the body. If the body is not there but only the self, the question of its disappearing in any form doesn't arise. Practice, dedication, and devotion. In the light of the life and teachings of Sri Ramana Maharishi, the devotees of Arunachala Ashrama believe that spiritual practice, sadhana, is essential. Peace, joy, immortality are available to those aspirants who dedicate themselves to the practice of meditation and self inquiry and devotion. The grace of the Guru is always present, but this grace is only fully experienced by those few sincere sadhakas, spiritual aspirants, who devote their lives to the practice of the teachings. We believe that Sri Ramana Maharishi didn't live for his time alone. His presence and guidance can be experienced now just as when he was physically present. Those who turn to him with sincere aspiration and longing, those who try their best to apply his teachings, will feel his grace and guidance. There is no doubt about this. In Arunachala Ashrama, Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi remains the teacher and guru. Lectures and discussions may have a place in an aspirant's life, but Arunachala Ashram is maintained in a manner that allows visitors and residents to absorb the teachings of Sri Ramana Maharishi through silence. His teachings are always being disseminated in silence, and to hear them, we must silence our mind. Lectures and discussions can obscure his silent teaching in the heart. Silence is the ocean in which all the rivers of all the religions discharge themselves. Guru Sri Ramana Maharishi did say that a guru was necessary. He also said that the guru may not be external, as in his case. Again, upon his physical demise, he said that he was not living, as he was never identified with the body, meaning he is present even now. The truth is that no one can give us liberation. The way can be pointed out, directions can be given. Our intense earnestness and total dedication to the goal is the most essential factor. If we become obsessed with this one thing, realizing truth of physical, guru if necessary, and all else will be drawn to us automatically. The guru will come to us when we are ready. We simply need to attend to making ourselves ready, and the rest is automatic. For those with faith in the Maharishi's living presence, there are no doubts in this matter. Hari Om Tat Sat.